Time for the annual State of New York Media Address. A lot has happened this year. What all changed? What does it mean? I'm here, folks, to tell you the first act is over. The IPOs, venture capitalists, the advertising revenue bonanza, it's finished. Instead, we're now in the middle game. The Queen's Gambit has been declined, so to speak. All the big players don't know their next move. So let's take a look at it. First big story is BuzzFeed bought the Huffington Post. But more importantly, at the bottom of this story, Verizon Media acquired a part of BuzzFeed. There's been an intertwining of Verizon Media and BuzzFeed, which is interesting. Huffington Post is not the interesting part. The interesting part is that Verizon Media's real strength and asset is that it is a fire hose of distributing content. It is a massive distribution pipeline. And BuzzFeed's strength is it is a production company, but it does not have the distribution Verizon Media has. And down here in this article, it says the deal includes an agreement to syndicate content between the two companies. That is the key, the syndication. BuzzFeed content will now start appearing on the big Yahoo and AOL platforms. So those two working together is a real marriage of convenience. You're getting the both of distribution and production. Huffington Post was like the 12 goats just to get that marriage started. The initiation, a show of goodwill. Nobody cares about the goats. You get married and you forget about the goats 2 days later. The goats weren't worth much of anything. It's a weird analogy, but appropriate because Huffington Post isn't worth that much. In fact, if we delve a little deeper into the story, there was an article in Variety approximately 1 year ago, November 20th, 2019, with the headline, Verizon is not selling Huffington Post, says telecommunications media boss. Guru, the CEO of Verizon Media, that's his real name, Guru, because he's such a guru at digital media, told Variety in 2019, quote, "We are not selling HuffPo. It's so core to our content. We're focused on creating good journalism and giving valued content to consumers." Well, Guru changed his mind, apparently, in a year, except he didn't change his mind. Since Guru has been the CEO of Verizon Media, I can speak personally from experience, everything has been for sale. Verizon Media is a conglomerate of many different brands, AOL, Yahoo, Huffington Post, Engadget, TechCrunch, Autoblog, a bunch of companies you've never heard of. In fact, when I was there, Tumblr was part of our company, and Tumblr was sold off for 2 cents to some company you've never heard of and will never hear of again because it was costing Verizon Media money. Tumblr was not making any money. They wanted to get rid of it. I remember I was there. I remember seeing all the Tumblr employees working on the 7th floor by Astor Place, typing away. And then one day I went down the elevator, ghost down. All of Tumblr had been sold off. Bye-bye, pack up your stuff, ta-ta. Not our problem anymore, you guys were too expensive. Huffington Post, equally, was costing Verizon Media money. They wanted to get rid of it. BuzzFeed took it off their hands. Verizon Media was looking at Huffington Post going like, we got a lot of employees, they're not making enough money, we got that ridiculous union. Unions are great for jobs that are well-defined, maybe you're a teacher, but for amorphous jobs that have no defined roles and that are constantly changing year to year, what good is a union? And journalists at Huffington Post are about to learn that their union is an iron anchor around their neck, dragging them down into the pond of unemployment. BuzzFeed already has a newsroom. What, they don't need 2 of them. There will be many Huffington Post layoffs. Now, a few will be rehired onto the BuzzFeed editorial side, but BuzzFeed has no need for 2 entire newsrooms that, if we're honest, overlap. So Huffington Post is about to get dismantled by BuzzFeed. But what about BuzzFeed's main competitor across the Potomac River? Vox. Vox has been in the news a lot recently too. Some shakeups there. Mainly, Ezra Klein is leaving for the New York Times. The Ezra Klein, if you're not familiar with who Ezra Klein is, he was the founder and editor-in-chief of Vox News. Now they call it Vox, but there is a larger media conglomerate called Vox Media, and the part Ezra Klein founded was Vox News. So I'm going to refer to it as Vox News. It's the one with the yellow and black font. You see their videos on YouTube. That's Ezra Klein's baby. Suddenly, Ezra is leaving for the New York Times, and in the same week, Matthew Yglesias, the second co-founder of Vox News, is also leaving Vox to go it alone on Substack. Why are 2 of the co-founders of Vox News suddenly booster ejecting from the F-15 known as Vox News? Having worked at BuzzFeed during the perhaps golden era, I can tell you the reason why both Zay Frank and Ben Smith left pretty quickly after each other is BuzzFeed had hit some rocky waters. Initially, BuzzFeed's plan was to raise a bunch of money, prop up their advertising revenue, not profit, to a sustainable number, and then IPO. They didn't get the IPO. They missed their revenue goals by 100 million, just a minor detail. Point being, to get this caboose of content back onto the rail, that BuzzFeed had hit a second act. They couldn't raise any more money. They weren't as profitable as they had anticipated, and it was time for the people that had initially launched those verticals to do something else. Oh, I got a great story about Ze Frank. I had just joined BuzzFeed. I was probably 23. Young, full of optimism, excited to be in New York. Here was Ze Frank, my hero. This was before, to quote Shakespeare, I realized all I saw were men with smiles and daggers behind their backs. Which is a great quote for New York media. All I see are men with smiles and daggers behind their backs. Sums it up really well. Shakespeare, a great philosopher of New York media. Anyway, Ze Frank had flown into New York from LA. We're having a meeting. About 16 people in this room. Nice conference room on the 16th floor with a beautiful view of the Chrysler building. And he's sitting there leaning back in his chair. And we were going around and introducing ourselves. Oh, hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm the culture producer. Oh, hi, I'm Stephanie. And I was thinking about what I would say. I'm going to introduce myself. Hey, Ze, I'm a big fan. I know your early work on YouTube. We had arrived at Jackie, and Jackie was talking. Hi, I'm Jackie. I like to talk about food. Food, great. Listen, I don't really care what your names are, Ze says to all of us. There's like 8 people left to still introduce. He doesn't care. I don't care what your names are. What are we doing for Q3? What's the plan here? You know, I'm tired. I just got in from LA. Also, you guys' thumbnails suck. I know you're the elite New York team. You guys got to make better thumbnails. Whereas I want that Lunchable held right up to the camera with that big smile, those wide eyes, like you're shocked, like you've never had a Lunchable before. Have you had a Lunchable before? I don't really care. Act like you haven't. We're making BuzzFeed videos here. It's not rocket science. Which
it tastes like childhood popularity.
I mean, the reason Vox is also entering their second act. You see, Vox, like BuzzFeed about 2 years ago, has hit some rocky waters. The advertising revenue they're making has evaporated with COVID, and they're quietly getting sued by hundreds of former independent contractors for millions of dollars. So many it's become a class action lawsuit, and Vox had to request that it get moved to the federal government out of the state of California because it's not looking good for them in brevity. They're hemorrhaging their talent to the New York Times and Washington Post. Their advertising dollars have dried up due to the pandemic, and the venture capital that they were using to raise money has equally dried up. It's tough out there for Vox, and it'll be fascinating to see how Vox pivots, like BuzzFeed is doing right now, to survive, or if they're even able to do that. Either way, they must continue to consolidate because at the current rate, they cannot compete against the size of the New York Times or the Washington Post. The subscription models that the Washington Post and New York Times currently have allow them to be very cash rich and buy up great journalistic talent and continue to dominate the field in terms of podcasts or breaking news reporting that the free digital media companies cannot do at the moment. So we'll see how this syndication deal plays out with Verizon Media and BuzzFeed. Like I said, Huffington Post, that was the goats. And the goats are going to get sheared and likely cooked for dinner. The real marriage is the syndication. BuzzFeed content onto the Yahoo and AOL platforms, and then they can use those advertising dollars to hopefully grow together. And regarding Ezra Klein joining the New York Times to become an op-ed columnist, well, he follows in the footsteps of my former boss, Ben Smith, the editor-in-chief of BuzzFeed, who is now also an opinion columnist at the New York Times. So we understand how dominant the New York Times is right now. They will have ended 2020 by vacuuming up the former editor-in-chief of Vox and the former editor-in-chief of BuzzFeed News, both under their payroll. They are a Goliath in the American media landscape. They inhale journalistic talent faster than a Miami single mom inhales her Marlboro Lights. It is phenomenal to watch. That's all for this video. If you found it interesting and not things you hear in other corners of YouTube, leave a like, please subscribe. If you want to support this channel and the information I provide, please go to my Patreon. It allows me to continue to produce media literacy videos, media training videos, and I'm able to do that precisely because so many others fear losing their position in the industry. Subscribe, like, see you in the next video. Bye.